In this lesson, we're going to learn about the job of a historian. We're going to learn what they do and what tools they use to do their job. We're not going that far back, but what does a historian do? A historian is a person who studies the past, writes about people that lived and events that happened in the past, and examines the causes and effects of those events. What tools do historians use? Calendars and timelines, sources, both primary and secondary, charts, diagrams, and graphs, and critical thinking skills. So on this chart, there are calendars and the difference between calendars and timelines. A calendar breaks time into units. It's a way to keep track of those units. It can measure how much time has passed between events, and there are many different calendars that have been used throughout history. As you can see, I've included a picture, an image of an Aztec calendar. They use the sun, moon, and stars to make their calendar, and a current calendar that we would use today. A timeline is a way of keeping track of the order of events, or chronology. It uses dates and labels. It's divided into sections that represent a period of time. And below is an example of a timeline that a student drew. Another tool of historians are primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources come from descriptions of an event by a person who was actually there, or they witnessed the event. Examples are autobiographies, eyewitness accounts, newspapers, documents, songs, poems, paintings, photographs, maps, interviews, diaries, journals, and artifacts from the time. But they all have to come from that time period or during that time. A secondary source is a description of an event from people who were not present at the event. Examples include textbooks, biographies, stories passed down generation to generation. So, are these sources primary or secondary? As each of the pictures appears, decide quickly if the picture is a primary or secondary source. Ready? Here we go. Okay, I hope you have your answers. Primary, it's a newspaper article from the time period. Secondary, those are encyclopedias found in a library. A history book, that is a secondary source. An artifact from the time period, that's primary. A picture of a couple on their wedding day, that's primary. A book about Nelson Mandela, that's secondary. The autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, that is primary. He wrote it himself. And a postcard or letter from the time period. It has a date on it. It's an original print. It's a primary source. How'd you do? Hopefully you did well. Charts, diagrams, and graphs. Charts are things like tables, or they can be just about anything from that time period. Historians also use diagrams. This is a diagram that I've always liked. It is of a sailboat used back probably in around the 1800s. A graph would be like, this is a line graph. You can use bar graphs or any kind of different kind of graphs. Another thing tool that historians use is their brain. Critical thinking skills. They study cause and effect, which is thinking about why an event occurred, predicting consequences, knowing what happened in similar events in the past that can help predict what will happen in the current events. Distinguishing between fact and opinion. Fact is what really happened, and opinions are based on beliefs, but they're not necessarily right or wrong. Opinions normally begin with statements like I believe or I think. Drawing inferences and conclusions. An inference is being able to figure out something that is not directly stated. You know that because we've done that. You've been inferring since kindergarten. And a conclusion is an understanding based on details or facts, and you've been doing that also. Well, I hope that you took notes on your note sheet for this lesson. The assignment is included on your assignment page.